So it doesn't mean I have a problem. It's just not going to succeed and learn how to balance out it so I'll need medicine in the future.
Yeah, man. You know how I feel about it. Like it's like the way people are categorized as like special education and the retards and all that. It's not even all that because they're like trained at a young age to believe that they're gonna grow up and become like not live up to their life potential. And like me, like I have a one track mind. I can't stay on one thing either. Like I start like I go to sleep and wake up. I can't stay and sleep all night. So like it's just crazy how it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I really do agree.
Um, oh my God. But a lot of people I noticed are diagnosed with bipolarness. And
Bipolar
I,
disorder.
I don't think bipolarness is real. I think people just have mood swings.
Yeah, I think it's certain things that make you mad and certain things that make you happy. It could happen at certain times, so you just can't say somebody bipolar. I mean, your girlfriend could walk in, you could get happy, and then somebody you don't like could walk in, you get mad. That don't mean you bipolar.
Right, like, man, I feel like that's based on what's going on in your life as far as moods changes very quickly.
Yeah.
So I have a, what's up there, Marie? I have a question for each and every one of you. Do you think that mental illness could be hereditary or can it be, grown upon? Because I know me personally, I dealt with depression since I was 12 years old, and it is a genetic in some cases, but it can also be triggered from a tragic or traumatic event in your life. So do you guys believe that it could be like that, or could it be like, oh, this is passed down from your family for like a generation it can skip? So what's
See,
your guys'?
honestly, I think that's just a lie that the doctors tell you, like he said, so they could get money.
Yeah.
Because it's not hereditary. It's something that you're told that you are this, so you're gonna start acting like you're that. So it's really not nothing big. It's just what people tell you that you are. It eventually sticks to you.
Well, I feel like it's the law of attraction. You think you crazy, you gonna act crazy. You think you some other type of person, you gonna act like some other type of person. So the doctors, of course, they're gonna tell you what.
I don't believe it's hereditary because a child doesn't come out a mama womb depressed. Like that's basically saying a child, a white or a Caucasian child, is off the bat racist, which is not true. Somebody has to learn racism. They have to learn where that's coming from. So I feel like somebody has to learn to act a certain type of way for them to be able to be diagnosed with something like depression or ADD or something like that.
I agree about what you're saying, and in most cases, some are genetic and some are. I know for a few facts that according maybe my depression kind of came from was passed down from my great grandmother, and then it kind of skipped the generations, went to me, and it can either be both ways. So when you think of the word, mental illness or mental health, is there like an image in your head or a word in your head that kind of pops up? So you're like, oh, this person's crazy. They talk to themselves. Like, have that stigma with mental illness. Do you know anybody? Because I know, Destiny, you said that you have ADD, right?
Yes, when I hear like mental health, I think of just people that are not normal.
You are not normal. I'm sure you are not normal.
See, I don't know anybody. Well, I don't know anybody personally, but at my school there are a lot of people who are going through that, and I see the way they act, like they just prancing around the room, and to me, it's not really crazy. I just think of it as they're diverse from the others. So when people call them crazy, it kind of like makes me think that you never know what people could be saying because it's not one word that can describe a whole group of people.
Basically, basically what I'm hearing is that what I'm hearing is the fact that people are saying people who spaz out and people who are diagnosed with depression or any type of mental disorder aren't real. That stuff is definitely real. I've been to hospitals where people who tried to commit suicide and failed to try to commit suicide and ended up in there. And I had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks with crazy kids because they felt like they didn't fit at home and they didn't want to be up in that. That's not, like when you saying, oh yeah, I'm depressed, you basically setting yourself up. They definitely gonna take you down, and they definitely gonna feel like, oh, this man trying to commit suicide, because that's exactly what they did to me. They felt like, oh, I didn't feel like I belong, so they basically gonna take you in and put you in, like, somewhere who tried to help you.
So, do you know any people that you might admire that suffers from mental illness? Because I know that Brandon Marshall, one of my favorite players, was diagnosed with bipolar.
I know Kid Cudi was dealing with something like that. That was basically the main thing I was hearing all last year.
And somebody I admire who got a disorder mentally is 50 Tyson. Because you know he could rap.
Shouts out Kid Cudi.
Yeah, shout out 50 Tyson.
But so here's my thing. What's going on in the whole Trump administration? I want to bring up that for a bit. Do you believe that he might tackle what's going on with mental illness? Because it is a very big thing with ACA that are trying to repeal, and replace. And one of those people is mental illness. People who suffer from this will be affected. So, what do you think on a political stance? Now, you guys don't have to say like you support or not, but it's all
Okay.
clear.
So basically, I'm not the president. I really don't care about anything that has to do with political science and anything in that category. But I do know the Affordable Health Care Act helps people get cheap health insurance that they can afford. So by him taking this away, it will affect a lot of people who need this health care, like you said, like the mental ill people. So this will affect them negatively.
You know, I just feel that these people are just brought up to lower standards when they grow up in life, and I don't really have no view on like political science and what they have to do about all the healthcare stuff. Because really, like you said, I'm not the president. It's not my job to worry about any of that. Like, I'm just gonna live my life, you know.
Right. I agree with you. They're set to low standards because if a child with a mental disorder, like at school, when kids with mental disorders fight people and do very weird, crazy things, they don't get in trouble. But see if what they don't get in trouble. But see if a person, a normal, well, not saying they're not normal, but if a normal person was to do something, it would have been, a big problem.
I feel what you're saying, and I kind of like getting what everybody say. Like they most definitely are like inputted different. I feel like as if like they think a certain way, or they are inputted in that way because it's like drilled in their brain. That's what they are, or whatever. And especially like a doctor hold a lot of authority over, you know, somebody, and if they tell you like, oh, you got this disease, or oh, you're diagnosed with this or diagnosed with that, most people believe it, or they go get a second opinion, and if that other doctor says the same thing, they're of course going to take their word for it because they're quote unquote a doctor. However, I feel like I know what Juwan is talking about, because those kids who don't necessarily get in trouble, those that goes on to go say that they have an IEP. I know plenty of people who have IEPs, and their punishment isn't necessarily as severe as a person who does not have an IEP. They do still, you know, have a consequence for it, but it's just not as severe as a, you know, like a person who doesn't have that leeway. So what I'm saying is, the president now, do I feel as if he would do something? I'm gonna speak out on this. Trump is more like a person who, he's a great businessman. He's just not fit out for a president. And so I don't think that he's going to necessarily pay that much mind about, you know, people who have those type of disorders or people who have mental health like that. I don't think he's going to really pay attention like that because it's not one of his priorities in my eyes.
I totally agree, and I've seen a lot of situations where mentally ill children have did things and didn't get punished correctly for it. So, that being said, people need to set them to higher expectations, because if they're set to low standards, then they will not want to achieve in life.
Yeah, so I know this guy in my school. He has ADHD, and thing is, he do the same thing we do. It's just by law, he is able to turn in his homework a day later and still get full credit. And if he gets in trouble, there is nothing they can do, because he says that by law he can sue them if this happens, and I do not think that is fair.
So do you think society has a different approach with mental illness? People who have mental illness than people who are sane?
I do think that it is a little bit, like, as far as when we go to school and stuff, yes, I do feel like it's a different approach, but out in the real world, I don't feel like it's, you know, like, put out into, like, they have a little bit, like how people, like, say that they have the advantage. I don't feel as if it's like that, because there are plenty of people who have disorders as far as, like, you know, like special ed or bipolar or different, you know, all these types of diseases, but it's the real world. The real world will smack you in the face. There's not no leeway for nothing. That's how I feel like that's how people grow up. That's how people, you know, try to deal with it more. That's how people, you know, get to be, that's how they feel normal. That's how I feel. Because society has made this whole little, you know, like special category for people who have these mental illnesses, and it's like it's more so like beginning to be like a stereotype for them. And I feel as if when they go out to the world, like the real world, besides after high school, after college, when they go for a job, I feel as if that's when the realness comes in, and I just feel like that's when they can more so cope with it better than when they were younger, because everything was handed to them, or everything was, you know, downgraded from a normal person.
I totally agree and disagree, because in the real world, if a mentally ill person was to kill someone, they will not get the same amount of time as a person who has a stable mind, because a person with a stable mind could do life in prison for killing someone, and a person that is mentally ill will do less than life, significantly less than life.
You sound ignorant. I'm just letting you know the second. First of all, people go to jail every day wrongly convicted just because they black money ticket back. So being mentally ill has nothing to do with that. And yeah, basically.
Well, me, going back to what she said about how society, as kids, I think they should take those names off of them and try more to try to prevent it from happening to them, and to try to get that off of them, so that when they grow up, they will not have that anymore. If you think that they're bipolar, you shouldn't tell them that they are. You should try to help them so that when they're out in society and they're old enough to be on their own, they won't still be bipolar.
Yeah, what you said was not true at all. I mean, there's been countless deaths in prisons set based on just it don't even matter if you got what ADHD or whatever y'all talking about, like the mental disabilities and all that. It don't even matter as long as you black, bro. As long as you African American, they definitely gonna slap you with that what.
Life.
They gonna give you life. They gonna probably if you do something like what that white dude did. I mean, they basically. I think they giving him the death penalty too. They don't even care no more, bro. As long as you black, bro, you still can.
The system is rigged.
I mean, it don't. It's not even that. It don't even matter if you got a mental disability. As long as you black, bro. They especially if it happening in the moment, bro. The cops still gonna kill you. So. It's not even like it's sweet for people who have mental disabilities to just roam the streets and kill anybody they want and not get locked up like normal people do, or to not get the same time that normal people do. They still normal, they just got stuff going on, stuck in the back of their head. So I wouldn't say it's sweet for everybody.
That's how I feel, and especially because, like, speaking on what you said, it's like, okay, then I guess you could say that serial killers have some type of mental disorder in their head because they're killed. Like, when they go to court and when they go in the system, like, they're literally go down as like they have something wrong with them, like their brain is off. But they still get faced with the same type of time that a normal person would get. You got Ted Bundy. You got so many people out there that have went down for serial killing. You got serial killers that ate people. You got serial killers that had sex with the dead bodies. You have a lot of things that's going on, but they still get convicted as a normal person. So you got to realize that it ain't just they get it sweet. You can't think that they got it sweet. Yeah, when they younger and stuff, yeah, they do got it sweet. But when you hit the real world, no, it ain't like that no more.
Well, based on my research, mental ill people will be hospitalized and treated for their mental disease if they commit a crime. And sometimes they won't be incarcerated if they don't meet certain standards.
Let me read that.
Read that paragraph.
Wait a second. I just literally thought of something and brought to me a good point. A favorite artist of mine was shot and killed almost 30 years ago in New York by a person who has been claimed that he had a mental illness. And
I gotta pee.
you're right, they do get down with the same penalty. Like, they do get penalized as a human, like another person that is sane. But right now, he's serving time in a mental asylum. So my question is, do you think mental illness differs from race, sex, gender, age, not thinking of, but do you think it differs? Like, what is it like to have a mental illness while you're a black person? Then it's going to be different if you're like white or Mexican or all those different races.
Well, I feel as if race doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we all bleed the same, we all have the same blood, so race does not matter at all. But see, as far as being mentally ill, anybody can have a sick mind or do sick things. So, mentally ill people, they just get hospitalized, like you said.